Welcome to our very exciting product launch webinar for SolidWorks Mechanical Conceptual. So myself, Eric Van Nessen, and next to me,
Jake Middleton.
So we're going to be your hosts for today, and we're very excited to present this brand new product from SolidWorks. Some of you might have heard that it's been in the works for a while. There's a lot of history behind it, but it's very exciting to bring to market, and some very neat capabilities that we're going to highlight today. So to kick it off, we thought we'd just start off with a little bit of mechanical conceptual design and what it means to us. And we do also want to learn from you guys today as well on your mechanical conceptual design process. We want to introduce the 3D Experience platform. This is something, a new platform from Dassault that this tool is available from. Then we'll talk specifically about this SolidWorks Mechanical Conceptual product, and we'll see it in action. We'll wrap it up. So we're going to try to truck through some stuff fairly quickly today. It's not going to be too in-depth. It's really about giving you an overview of what the tool's all about, and to see if there's interest in our client base and and the guys that are attending. We do have a couple poll questions along the way, but we'll actually save one just for a second from now. So, so kicking it off, I just wanted to talk about the typical design process. So, detailed design, I'm going to start right from the middle because that's what we know the best. We live and breathe with SolidWorks and all the tools that we offer. We're focusing on detailed design. What SolidWorks has been doing over the last couple of years is broadening its perspective to look at what are people doing before the designs come into SolidWorks and what are people doing after the designs are completed in SolidWorks. So there's other tools. Maybe I'll touch on the after first. On the operations end, there's a tool that we're releasing, doing an initial webinar next week for SolidWorks Inspection, which is really about the operations and accepting parts end. But today's focus is really on the conceptual design side. And from the research that SolidWorks has done, a lot of different tools are being used there, whiteboards, paper, and SolidWorks in a lot of cases as well. But what they have found is that a great amount of time is spent on becoming or coming up with new design concepts. We find that there's a lot more change. So the majority of changes happen during this phase of design, and then as things get more solidified, that's when you start getting into more detailed design. The majority of the team is involved, whether or not they're actually doing work or whether they're just in there for feedback and ideas. They are involved. And what was really shocking as well, although not so surprising because it probably is a really good idea, is the amount of customers involved. So the vast majority of customers, if they're involving new products or designing product obviously for a specific customer, they have to be involved and get that feedback in there. So 98% of customers are involved in a collaborative aspect. So what are the challenges with the design processes that they're finding today? Capturing ideas digitally was something that came up. Managing multiple concepts, especially if you have them jotted down on whiteboards or papers and just keeping them organized. And then, of course, collaborating and communicating, especially when the design team or the customers aren't always underneath the same roof. With the real-time design that we're doing today, we just need to figure out a way to work and leverage the technology that we have available to all work together collaboratively. So that's just a quick intro to mechanical conceptual design and what it means to us. I thought that we'd do a quick poll question here just to see what you have out there. So the first question is, what tools do you use to capture design concepts today? So do you guys use paper, whiteboard, or using SolidWorks? Are you doing it in 2D? Or I've even seen some customers do cardboard cutouts if they do mechanisms or different types of tools. So it'd be great if you could fill that in and leave it open for a couple seconds here. All right. Perfect. So we're just closing it up. Thanks very much for voting. Perfect. Okay. I'll go through it real quick just so you guys see some of the visualization here. So this is the design concept that we're talking about here, concept, detail design, and operations. So it's about what's the time that's been spent, design iterations, the project, a lot of projects involving customers, and really it's about capturing these digitally, multiple concepts, and collaborating and communicating. Okay. So this is the compass that everybody is so excited to see the visual of. And again, apologize for not showing this a minute ago. So it's about the information intelligence, the social collaboration, the 3D side, and the VR, virtual reality, or the simulation side. So this is really what the compass is all about, being able to play the experience as well, depending on what environment that you're in. All right, so this is where the SolidWorks mechanical conceptual tool comes in. So you guys are all caught up on the visual. Sorry about that. If you do, Jacob, maybe you can monitor questions, make sure there weren't other questions besides where the heck is that screen that Eric's been talking about. So SolidWorks mechanical conceptual, there's 4 distinct areas that have been a focus of this tool. Of course, it is on the conceptual side, and really it's about, to me, that's about speed. It's about, as fast as you can draw on a whiteboard, can you jot stuff down digitally in ideas? It's about instinctive, so about predictive ideas. It's about social, so it's about getting designer teams together. It's about getting customers together and connected in real time as well. So that's really what it's all about. So capture ideas quickly. A big part of the conceptual side is capturing 2D and 3D side. And instinctive is really about predictive workflows and real-world design behavior. Jake, maybe you can kind of address the social and the connected side.
Yeah, these are the 2 areas that I really see SolidWorks Mechanical Conceptual really pulling away from the pack, from SolidWorks and everything. So on the social side, as we all know, being social has really become enormously popular recently. SolidWorks Mechanical Conceptual is really a breakthrough product that brings this idea to us in the CAD industry. So, some examples are, you can create design communities, gather feedback. You can even have blog postings about your designs. There's a lot of other ways to really share and harness your entire team's potential from the social aspect of it. On connected, it's always nice to have that feeling that your data is always backed up and stored and that you're not going to lose it. So this is a cloud-based system, so it's always up to date, uploaded in the cloud. We do have something called 3D instant messaging, which is just a great way to talk to people no matter where they're at, if they're designing or if they're on the blog or wherever they are. You can always connect with them. And it's really just safe and secure, and a lot of good benefits come from putting this in the cloud. So I'm really excited about these last 2, social and connected aspects of the software.
Perfect. So actually I'm going to launch another poll question here. So I am curious about whether or when you create design concepts. So I know that from the customers that I've talked to so far about this aspect of design, I have heard it being at different stages of design or different stages of sales and requirements gathering. So some customers do it like even before a sale. It's important to show value to the customer and to show ideas on paper and to work with them. And then when a sale is solidified, maybe they start locking down the requirements and do concepts then. Oh, or maybe it's even afterwards, and it's make sure that all your requirements are solidified, and then you start getting concepts to address those areas. So I'd be curious on your feedback there. All right, so I'll just leave that open for another second here. Get the final votes. Perfect. Thanks very much for voting. Okay. So it looks like there are a third of the users approximately out there that are involved do actually do it at the beginning before the sale, and then a good amount of users do it after requirements are locked down. So good feedback to get. Thanks very much for that. So with that, let's actually show this tool in action. So I'm just going to flip my screen over here. Just give me a second. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about with the SolidWorks Mechanical Conceptual is just introduction to this 3D experience platform. So this is fundamental to this. The platform is a hosted cloud-based platform. So we're logged into it here. We can see the compass allows me to navigate around, and you can see that depending on which quadrant of the compass I click on, I have different apps available. So on the 3D side, like we said, the first app that's available is SolidWorks Mechanical Conceptual. On the social side, I can go over to the 3D Swim, which gives me direct access to any sort of feedback and blogging that's been happening. So an idea that we've been working on here, Jake and I together, is this waste bin dumping mechanism. So I did come up with a couple different design concepts. This is where I took screen captures directly out of Mechanical Conceptual. And then I posted it up there to have different stakeholders involved to give feedback before I proceed.
And I'm following his blog, and actually you can see in the upper right corner the little number 3. That's actually a notification when someone comments on your blog and whatnot. So I was following Eric's blog, and I think I have a pretty good suggestion for it about adding a spring to it. So just kind of wrote my idea down and then added a little image of a spring on how I think or where I think we should put the spring to help make this a little bit better product. Then posted it on there, and Eric's able to kind of see my idea of how this should progress.
Perfect. So I made the request back, and then from there is really where, so that's where a lot of the collaboration happens, and that can happen right within Mechanical Conceptual as well, but I just wanted to point out that it's available through the web, and therefore it's available on any device. It could be your mobile phone or tablets. So on the 3D side, I'm going to launch Mechanical Conceptual. And then I wanted to show you from within that environment what this looks like. So let's kind of flip over here. And we'll just hide the chat for a minute. So the first thing I wanted to talk, just to introduce you to the environment, is that the toolbar is identical to the web. So whatever web browser you're working with, it always has your compass at the top left, and I can launch the chat and social aspect directly out of there, and has all the familiar tools and your login available as well. But then, of course, instead of the web browser, we have this design environment. Okay, so the first time that you launch this, it can be on any computer. It uses your credentials and it installs in the back end, and then you can start doing design work. The idea is to capture these mechanisms in 2D first. Is a very powerful area. So I'll show you some of this from scratch. I just wanted to show you one, right within the environment, and of course come up with different design concepts. So within Mechanical Conceptual, we can retrieve, and I can see that I have 2 concepts that were archived a couple or a few days ago, Concept 1 and Concept 2, and I can go back to see those concepts, see previews of them, or retrieve them and make them new starting points. So from there I can go and detail my design further on the 3D aspect. So I've taken those and I can capture the same mechanism, and I can just turn it into 3D and start generating 3D geometry around it. And I'll show you that whole process, but I just wanted to fast forward because I just wanted to highlight a couple very nice things about Mechanical Conceptual. And a big one is, of course, showing the mechanisms work within the 3D aspect, and even visualizing volumes and trace paths and things like that. So there's a lot of very unique capabilities within Mechanical Conceptual, just in the 2D mechanism side, to the 3D visualizing side, to capturing motion and space requirements. And so it's a very, very, very strong on mechanical mechanism design. A big aspect that we mentioned before was the collaboration. So integrated right within Mechanical Conceptual is the blogging functionality to be able to create that blog that I showed you before and add comments to it, or integrated chat. So I just click on this chat functionality, and I can see that Jake and I were having a conversation around this design, and he shared with me some snapshots of the design concept that he's currently working on. So the idea is to work at different, like literally any area around the globe. If you're connected to the internet, you can work collaboratively on this design, and you can see that you can have chat integrated within the design tool and send each other ideas and concepts. So in this case, this is a very unique aspect of showing me a snapshot where I can see this is the design that I'm working on, and I overlaid it automatically graphically with the design that Jake took a snapshot of. So he has that live on his screen. He hasn't saved this new spring mechanism and the pins back to the design, but he's shared that with me. So that I can very easily see it and be able to chat back and forth, whether that's a good idea, whether there's some modifications, and so forth. So any comments on your end, Jake, as I switch over and show some design from scratch?
I just like the fact that, before I save it or before I commit to it, I can get your feedback, again, on that social and collaborative end. And that's just the part I really love about this software, is, that we can work together on it, we can, share opinions, and if you like it, I can go ahead and save it and push it out there. And if you say, hey, it's not the greatest idea, then no harm done. So it's a really great way to kind of collaborating between us.
Yeah, so this is my current design, and this is the idea that Jake did, and he can give me comments and things, and we can accept it and collaboratively work to get that idea back into the concept that we're working on together. So with that, I thought that I'd show just a little bit of this design tool from scratch, just to show you, really the most important aspect in my mind is to generate fresh new ideas. Just going to exit out the chat side. So the way to generate a fresh new idea is really, it typically does start with the sketching. So we can pick a sketch plane and have very quick access to the tools that we want to use on sketching. One of my favorite things about Mechanical Conceptual is how quick it is to bring different profiles together. So we can just get some different shapes together like this. And we can use stuff like Boolean addition or Boolean subtraction of these different profiles to get a shape. So you can get some very nice geometry that could take quite a bit. Or even drawing that as neatly on a whiteboard or sketch pad, I'd like to think takes longer than that. I don't know. What do you think, Jake? We should almost have a race. You should have been drawing that on the whiteboard.
It should have been.
More importantly than just getting the general shape is getting approximate size. So no matter what you click on, we have dimensions that pop up that we can just directly edit. So the idea of using a dimension tool isn't really needed anymore with these design concepts. We can just go and click, and as soon as you start applying a dimension, we can see that the object will automatically scale to whatever you want. So you can just go to whatever dimension you need to do, and then continue to modify whatever other dimensions you want. When you have the general shape, if you want to lock it down, you just have to click on the object and lock it. And this is now a shape that moves together as a single object. So although we're technically working in a sketch environment here, I think it's really important to think of this as a component and not a sketch. Would you agree with that, Jake?
I do, Eric, and I was just going to mention one of the things I really like about this is that it is just a sketch, but when you click off to the side, the dimensions actually hide themselves and it just kind of locks it down. They're still applying, still driving that dimension, but they're not visible, so it's a very clean and neat environment. Pretty much just like I would do it on a whiteboard, but I've got obviously a lot more power to do it here in Mechanical Conceptual.
Exactly. And you can capture design intent, which is nice as well. So simple stuff like is it equal or approximate size. We just can go and drag these objects around, capture them the way we want to in space, and then if we're happy with it, again just lock it down. And right now it can move around, but we can also just of course lock it into place. So we'll just say that that's now in place. So capturing a big difference between sketching some quick concepts in this digital environment versus paper and whiteboard is the motion. Like that's kind of the big aspect. Like you can try to get some ideas of motion on a whiteboard, but it's really difficult to predict actually what's happening and what's going on there. Linkages are really nice to work with as well. That's a very common thing to work with within when you're doing new mechanisms. So you just start going, and I can just start typing in an approximate dimension or an exact dimension, and it'll lock that down to a certain size. And then as I go and create other linkages, it'll go and save that dimension. So it's very common to do numerous linkages of the same size, and you just want to create mechanisms. And you can go and stretch and push and pull them to fit the way you want. Or what you can do is start locking down, again, the sizes. So if you wanted a certain size like this, I can either lock it as a shape, or I can apply a certain size. Say that I want this to be 60, and we'll do maybe this guy over here. Actually, I'm just going to lock that down. Maybe this guy over here, we'll do it 120. And you can see that by applying a couple dimensions, we can now capture that motion digitally, just moving it up and down, right? So very nice to be able to work, capture a mechanism. I thought I'd just create a very basic crank here just to give you an idea of capturing this, not only the shape, but also the motion side.
Now that's really nice, Eric, and I like what you've done there. But a lot of times, we do want to see this in 3D. So is there any way we can take this and then somehow convert this into 3D to show it, like I did on the blog?
I'm glad you asked, Jake, because that is exactly where we want to go with this. It's not enough to put design concepts in 2D. A lot of people need to visualize in 3D, and a lot of design concepts that like a planar view of it isn't enough, right? I mean, with this particular one, it probably is, but we'll show you how quick it is to go into 3D. A very, very nice aspect of this tool is that we don't have to worry about sketches, parts, and assemblies, and sub-assemblies, and things like that. A lot of that happens automatically. And what we can do is just start stretching and pushing and pulling these different profiles. Now we can, of course, use different 3D tools as well, like rotate, if you want to do a revolve, or if you want to do a sweep, or other types of 3D. But in this case, I just thought I'd keep it basic just to kind of rush through and show you a little bit of this aspect. And one of my favorite things about this is that all of the 2D motion that I've done on the sketch is kept on the 3D side as well. So very easy to communicate that 3D geometry and that 3D mechanism. And now I can start including this concept in my blog entries or design concepts that I want to capture digitally. Go and archive this as a concept number that I can then retrieve at a later date if I want as well, of course. And then as I'm working with the tool, there is a number of unique features that because we're in a different a unique environment here, it does open up the doors. And I just thought I'd highlight one. I can't find a good reason to put a spring onto this design. Jake was laughing at me a little bit when I said I need to find a place to put a spring, because I just think that there's some functionality that's just really noteworthy. And one of the things is applying springs. If you do have, it works the same with, or equally as powerful if you do a lot of like threads, like bolts, nuts, and screws and stuff like that. But it's just so neat to be able to see. I'm just not used to this with the experience that I've had, but be able to stretch, push, and pull the objects like this in real time. So just by dragging objects with your mouse, you can just see them moving around. Capturing motion is literally just a matter of hitting an object and seeing that move around. Oops, I might need to calculate that to see the spring too. But very neat to be able to capture that digitally and to communicate that. So with that, I think I'll wrap it up. I did want to, that's kind of achieved my goal of just giving everybody a preview of this tool. I did want to ask, actually one thing that I am curious about, I have 2 more poll questions to ask you. One was just on the cloud computing. There's a big aspect of this new platform is about leveraging the cloud, and I am curious about what the general opinion is there of our customers. So we'll go through that. Okay, so we'll just fill that in. So we'll figure that out. So we'll give you a couple more seconds to fill that out. All right, perfect. Thanks very much for voting. And I just have one poll question to end off. And again, very sorry about not showing my screen there at the beginning. That's a mistake I have not made for a while. Hopefully I will learn my lesson and not make again. But our goal today was about just showing our preliminary view of this product. We have just over the last month been ramping up on it ourselves, so we're prepared to show it to our customers that see a fit within their design space. But if you could fill that in, would be great. I think I could have got all the poll questions, and we will take some questions now as well. So if you wanted to type in questions on the right in the GoToMeeting, we'll fill those in. Just make sure I had all the. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we're just going to take a minute to read through some of the questions, and then we'll jump back on in about 10, 30, or 20 seconds. Okay. So I just had a quick question here about pricing and deployment available in Canada. So the tool is available today for any customers that want to incorporate it as part of their design process. It is on the pricing standpoint. I don't actually remember the exact price off the top of my head, so I don't want to quote it. But it is, the nice thing about it is that it's purely a subscription base. So it's I would say it's a little bit more than SolidWorks subscription, but there's no upfront cost to the tool. There's no investment in the actual software itself because it's a hosted solution. We had another question about integration with conventional SolidWorks, and so glad you asked that one. And that's something I probably should have included in today's topic. There is the ability to move data from Mechanical Conceptual to SolidWorks and back from SolidWorks to Mechanical Conceptual. It doesn't include like a full design history, but it does. All the geometry comes across very cleanly. Colors and positions, and there are some areas that they're working on to get that they think are important that is in the works. So I heard from SolidWorks that getting assembly, mates, and motion, that sort of side captured and brought over is something that is high on the radar, but isn't available today, but is being worked on. So that's kind of on that side, but happy to address those questions and more with you guys individually to if we can help you further afterwards. Okay.
So sorry about that, guys. We're more technical issues. We just realized that our phone was accidentally disconnected somehow. So I'm not sure how much of the Q&A you just got, but there were a couple questions about pricing and delivery, as well as integration with SolidWorks. I'll just answer them again, just in case they didn't come through. If they came through, have a nice day, and we'll talk to you guys afterwards. But the first question was on pricing and availability. The product is available today globally, so any customers that are interested in pursuing it and seeing use for it in their design environments will definitely talk and connect with us, and we'll figure out how to make that happen. And on the pricing end, the nice thing about it is that it's purely a subscription base, so there's no upfront licensing cost. It's just a yearly subscription, and the yearly subscription is a little bit higher than a typical SolidWorks subscription, because it's obviously involves all the hosting back end of the data, and there's a lot of cost involved that needs to be recovered. But it's pretty reasonable for the amount of value that it delivers, and we can talk exact pricing with you, on a case-by-case basis, depending on what you need. And on the other question was about integration with SolidWorks. You can get information from Mechanical Conceptual to SolidWorks and back from SolidWorks to SolidWorks Mechanical Conceptual. So you can get the data both ways. There are some limitations. It's not like a complete history and everything goes over. But we can talk to you about the details with what goes over. There actually have been some very unique cases of customers that, or interesting cases, I should say, of customers that are using the tool and are primarily using it to do layouts of existing SolidWorks designs. So it's very good on the performance end to do large layouts. So you can import a bunch of SolidWorks models, communicate layouts of new design flows or processes, and then communicate those with clients or internally to narrow in on a design. So very interesting aspect of the tool, and yeah, so data can go back and forth. So I don't think there's any other questions besides those. So we'll follow up with you guys and let us know if you'd like to get some further information on the product and be one of our first clients to pursue it. Okay, thanks very much for attending today, and we'll be in touch shortly. Bye now.